Unable to control her emotions, Ariana broke down when she discovered she had depleted her funds. Never in her wildest dreams could she have imagined the unexpected source of relief she would find in her purse the following day. Luke, a 6-year-old, found himself struggling to pass the time as he waited for his mom to collect him from school. Despite the presence of a teacher, Miss Lewis, who accompanied him, she was preoccupied with a heated argument with her husband over the phone. As Luke aimlessly dragged his shoes through the gravel, he occupied himself by counting the iron bars that composed the school's perimeter. Any moment now, he thought, looking at the farthest point on the road. She'll be here, then we go for ice cream. It's Tuesday, I hope she remembers. The sound of an approaching car got louder and louder, and it was like music to little Luke's ears. Luke ran out of the gate straight into his mother's arms in the car. By Miss Lewis, Luke was in a hurry to leave and could already visualize the cold treat he'd be feasting on. I've already picked my flavor for the day. I'm gonna go with mango. Luke jumped in his seat, expecting his mom to comment on his unusual choice before revealing hers. But today, Ariana was silent. There was no song playing on the radio, no tussling of Luke's hair, and not a single word from her tightly closed lips. Mom, I said I'm gonna have mango ice cream today. He gave her another chance to respond. Oh, that sounds exotic. I think I'll have that too, Ariana said, looking at her son for a quick second before gluing her eyes to the road ahead. Later that evening, Ariana automatically drifted from chore to chore, her mind rattled with worries. She pushed her anxiety down until the moment she tucked Luke in bed and walked out to the kitchen. Everything around her seemed foreign. Is this where I am right now? She asked herself. Is this what my life has become? A constant struggle to keep a job, raise a child alone, and find a split second to catch a break? It was true. Ariana had been on her toes since the day she turned 18. She worked and paid her way through college after she stormed out on her parents to live with the man she loved, and then struggled to keep the marriage in her life from falling apart. It had taken her 2 years to realize that Joseph had been cheating on her. She remembered the big fight they had right before filing for a divorce. Joseph didn't care. It was Luke's birthday. He didn't care his own father, Matthew, was in the room. A year had passed, but the hurtful words Joseph spewed that day still made Ariana's breath shallow. Ariana was still picking up the pieces of her broken heart, but she knew that she wasn't most affected by the divorce. It was Luke. Ariana looked around the empty room and felt sad. Luke missed spending time with his dad, but he also missed the special connection he had with his grandpa. They used to do everything together, like working in the garden, reading books, and singing songs. Ariana used to drop Luke off at his grandpa's house every afternoon, and they would have a lot of fun. It was good for Luke to learn from his grandpa, and it was also good for Ariana because she didn't have to worry about finding someone to watch Luke after school. Luke's dad didn't have a lot of money, so Ariana worked extra hours to make ends meet. But after Ariana and Luke's dad got divorced, things became harder for her. She decided to move closer to her job for a fresh start, even though Luke's grandpa was still willing to look after him. Ariana didn't want anything to remind her of the past. She felt guilty for keeping Luke away from his grandpa and worried that he might be upset with her. As Ariana stood in the kitchen, feeling overwhelmed with guilt, she realized she needed help. She thought about calling her old friends for a loan, but when she went to grab her phone, she didn't notice someone else was in the room with her. Luke had woken up a few minutes earlier to ask his mama for a glass of water, but he sensed something was wrong and hid behind the cupboard. Who's mom talking to on the phone, and why is she crying? Luke stayed and listened, even though he didn't understand many of the big words Ariana was using. Please, Ava, any little amount would help, just enough to get groceries for the next week. Ariana paused before pleading some more. I don't know who else to call. I lost my job today, and there's literally no money for food. Another pause followed. All right, no worries. Of course, I understand. Thanks anyway. Good night. Luke watched as Ariana took deep breaths and burst into tears, weeping into her palms. He snuck back into bed, but sleep eluded him. He found himself staring blankly at random things in his dark room. All of a sudden, a dusty old object caught his eye. I know what to do. Luke sat up and threw his arms in the air. The following morning, Ariana fidgeted with her phone as she sat on the couch. Mom, do you need your purse? Luke randomly walked up to her and asked. Ariana thought it was a strange question, but she was too distracted to focus on it. No, darling, she said without looking at her son. Well, that didn't work. I have to think of another way, Luke thought as he racked his brain. A few minutes later, he popped up again in front of Ariana. Mom, my lips are really dry. Can you please put your lip balm on it? Ariana immediately reached for her bag. That worked. Luke's mom. He watched as his mother fished through her bag and then lifted her head with an odd expression on her face. To absolute shock, Ariana removed a wad of cash. How is this possible? It wasn't in here yesterday, all this money. It's a miracle. Ariana had a fleeting feeling about whether her son had anything to do with his sudden windfall, but looking at him standing with closed eyes and parted lips, waiting for her to apply the lip balm, she chuckled at the thought. You did what? Grandpa Bo sounded astonished on the phone. He was the only person Luke wanted to share his master plan with. So when Ariana took a shower the next day, Luke secretly called his grandpa and spilled the beans. It's true. I'd entirely forgotten about my piggy bank and the birthday money you gave me. I broke it when Mama was asleep, and it was all in there. I quickly collected the notes and snuck them into Mama's bag before she woke up. She told me there was $300 in that. Some angel had blessed us with money. She doesn't have to know. It was Luke. He heard his mother come out of the bathroom and quickly hung up on the other end of the line. Grandpa Bo was still shocked by what his grandson had done. He decided to pay Ariana a visit the next day. Ariana was preparing for an online interview at home when she heard a knock on the door. Bo? Ariana was surprised to see the old man she'd been avoiding standing on her porch. There is something you need to know about Luke, Matthew said, sipping the coffee that Ariana served him. The old man cleared his throat and revealed how Luke was behind the mysterious $300 in her bag. Ariana had tears in her eyes by the end of the story, and she struggled with what to say. Bo, I don't know what to say. Ariana, my dear, I had no idea you were having such a hard time. I didn't know you lost your job, and I can't imagine how you must be wearing yourself out trying to do everything yourself. Joseph chose to walk away from you and Luke. I didn't want to hold you back from your new life, but I miss my grandson terribly. I was worried about the kid and how the divorce may affect him. But today, what he said silenced that worry. It showed me you've raised him right, and you need to know that. Ariana hadn't heard such sincere words of appreciation in forever. She didn't know whether she deserved it. Did you hear me? You're doing a fantastic job raising the boy. Luke's lucky to have you as a mother, Matthew asserted as he allowed his former daughter-in-law to embrace him and cry. Over the following 2 months, Ariana managed to regain stability in her life and actively pursue a steady job, thanks to Matthew's assistance in covering household expenses with his pension. Beyond the financial aid, witnessing the bond between Luke and his grandfather brought Ariana immense satisfaction. Upon securing a position as an assistant manager at a renowned store, Ariana arranged for Matthew to join her and Luke in their home. Throughout the years that followed, Ariana nurtured Matthew with the care and affection one would give to their own father. What do you think of this story? Let us know in the comments section. Thank you.